Content disclaimer: the views, comments, and opinions expressed by guest speakers or authors on this YouTube channel do not necessarily reflect or represent the views and opinions held by this channel's broadcasters and its sponsors. Parental guidance is advised. Copyright disclaimer: under Section 107 of Copyright Act of 1976, allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comments, news reporting, teachers, scholarship, education, and research. For fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringed. Come out tomorrow. Get your bottom dollars back tomorrow. There'll be sun. Sun'll come out tomorrow. Bet your bottom dollars that tomorrow will be sun. Tomorrow, tomorrow, I love you. Tomorrow is always a day away. Tomorrow, tomorrow, I love you. Tomorrow, always a day away. Tomorrow, today, whatever. ¿Cómo está, my friend? ¿Cómo está? ¿Cómo allez-vous? To all my friends, and ¿cómo está to all my Spanish-speaking friends, and ¿cómo allez-vous to all my French-speaking friends, and how are you to all of my English-speaking friends, and wagwan to all my Jamaican-speaking friends. What's up? Your brother's in the building. Oh yeah, man. Woo. I fell asleep on the couch and didn't wake up until 7 this morning. Had to get up, go to the bathroom, and then whoop, get my backside back up to work. But I enjoy what I do, and that's the good thing. Today, my friend, is October the 13th. Today is Tisha Campbell's birthday. Happy birthday, Tisha Campbell. Today is also Caleb, I think it's McCullen, the actor from Stranger Things. I think today is his birthday also. And today is my dear friend Lorraine Jackson's birthday. I better tag her in this. She'll be upset if I don't tag her. So I might have to tag Lorraine in this one because she gonna want to hear what I had to say about that number 13 today. Hopefully, she's on Instagram. I don't know if Lorraine is on Instagram and what is she going under? Yeah, well, I'll send it to her another time. I don't see her name popping up. Lorraine. All right. It's all good. Hey, Sophia Levy, how are you? Hope everything is all right, Sophia. Yes, so today's subject, young ladies and young men, it is your responsibility to realign yourself by any means necessary. Let me say that again for the people in the back of the universe. It is your response to your ability or responsibility to realign yourself by any means necessary. Very important. Your actions proves your greatness. Thank you very much, Karen. Thank you very much. How you doing? Happy belated birthday, Karen. Your actions prove your greatness. And in order for you to realign, I will, from my perspective and from your perspective, sometimes you have to go back to that moment that brought you joy. Reminding you of that creative aspect that brought you happiness before even recognizing that you was a part of any religion or part of anything. Just go back to the point of time mentally. Go back to it. And then internally remind yourself of the joyful times and moments. Because when you go back to the joyful and laughing and things that brought your energy up, that's a part of the responsibility to realigning yourself to be your greatest self. Because it is your response to your ability to realign yourself by any means necessary, whatever it takes to psychologically put you there, to spiritually put you there, to physically put you there. And I realized that when I began to seriously study numbers, I started to recognize patterns. So even when I studied Japanese numerology, culturally, I also recognize that if I was in Japan, I'm able to use numbers to help realign myself. Chinese numerology. Culturally, now it's taking you back. Now, this is from an actual Chinese person. They had to translate the Chinese. I went looking for this book. This book is written. This book was written. What year was this book written? And I'm bringing this up because obviously people around the world understands the use of numbers. In Chinese, this one was written by a European that studied in China and lived in China. This one is called by Richard Webster, Chinese Numerology. And if you look at the patterns behind it, you'll see that that's a turtle back. If you look at the patterns behind it, you'll see that there's a turtle back based on the ancient system of how Chinese actually, the Chinese actually derived their system behind the turtle back. And this one is Evelyn Litt, because she's a Chinese lady, according to what I've seen, you know. And this was written in 1964. This one is written by Takagi, Mr. Takagi, Fusayoshi Takagi, 1964. So as you can tell, I study, I go and buy, I go and research. And I'm not telling everybody else to do it. I'm telling people from a simple, I'm guiding you from a simple perspective. If you want to start to realign yourself, you have to go back. Because when you go back into time as a child and remember the good times, like Al Green used to sing, for the good times, when you had laughter and joy, when you didn't have any care in the world, that is something that will realign you to the universal understanding of who and what you are and what you came through. Because when you were younger, you was that much closer to it. Now that we've got to old ourselves and got older and we started getting caught up in the distractions and all that, and not just because you can go into rural areas after they've been bombed. And after the dust has settled, children will still gravitate to other children to play, even after the bombing. Now they know that something happened. They've been through, they recognize that something happened. But when they start, if you ever walk with a child in your hand, if you do have children, or if you walk in a supermarket with children, I always observe what children are. And when you see one little one, no taller than that other person, but they always look and gravitate to see, we good? What's up? You know what I'm saying? They watching each other. I don't care what color they are, what complexion they are, what race they come from. They always look at each other. Just like adults, we look at each other and probably go like this. Good. We make that head gesture. Good. All right. After we look each other in the eye. So something about being connected to that childlike attitude. It's all right. Look, if you're in a relationship, tickle each other. If you're in a relationship, play the games that you used to play as a child. Play hide and go seek with your mate. Play tag with your mate. The things that you did as a child will help you to remind you of the importance of realigning and that it's your responsibility. Numbers can help as far as connecting you to the lessons and the gifts that you may have laid dormant in your space, in your very being. But when it comes back to the responsibility to realign yourself, if you go back to the child attitude, then you will open up like a sponge again. Then you will become the sponge. You'll become a sponge again, being willing to take in information. But this time, because you went through all that you went through, all the trauma that you go through, sometimes you have to go into the quiet space of who you are and reflect on the happiness of childhood, not when the traumatic stuff started coming in, the stuff that you used to laugh at, the things that you used to play with, even if you used to play with dolls or blocks or Legos and all that, buy a Lego set. Because again, we're talking about realigning. I'm not talking about just aligning. I'm saying realigning to the joyfulness of who you were as a child, coming out from the realms, the cosmic realms, through your mother and father, making it to this realm. Why? Then usually whatever you gravitated to in the early stages of your childhood is what will help to remind you of what you need to realign yourself back. Many people know me know I love to laugh. I love to laugh. So yes, I would watch comedy shows before I go to bed, even if I watch all the gory stuff, because I like good action films with shoot 'em up, kill 'em up, bang bang. I like those good action films. I like watching those action shows. However, I like to also either go to bed by listening to things that make me laugh or things that educate me. So I will watch a show that is educational but also funny. Like to me, Star from Star Report is not only educational, but he's funny because of his personality. He's raw. He don't care. He don't give a. I understand, but he is a single male who lived good, who did not have a traumatic childhood. He had his mom and dad. He lived in the suburbs. He says that all the time, that he didn't go through trauma. He became who he is because he wanted to become, and that's like a privileged white child, because remember, he's half white and half black. And respect the Star. Star is somebody that I considered a Jejna or a teacher in the field of communications. You know, he's a good guy, and one thing about him, he says what he mean and mean what he says, and that's what children do. I'm not calling him a child, but he has lived and stayed in that child mentality to the point that he still says what he wants to say and still does what he wants to do. And that's what I'm trying to realign you to get back to that childlike mentality, because although, people like him will call himself a narcissist, if you think about it, because children don't understand what narcissism is, when it's about the me, and give me, and all that kind of stuff, that can be a narcissistic tendency. When it's all about you and that's it, blah, 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 blah. Because sometimes children act like that. So he would consider himself a narcissist, and he probably is from that perspective, because he's maintained that attitude that it's about me, it's me, like children do. Y'all have seen children go crazy in a darn store if they can't get it. No, you gotta give it to them. They will, and the mother or the father might give it to them, depending on what type of mother and father they are. They might give it to them. But at the end of the day, I want you to go back to your child attitude, not from gimme, want, but from a happy, joyful moment that there was no care in the world. Sometimes you got to take moments of the day to yourself and do that. Sometimes you got to go in a backyard and go put your foot in the grass and go play. Or if you have children or grandchildren, get down to their level and play, because it's different when they have to look up to when you bring down to your knees and become them. It's a different world in a child's world. So it is your responsibility, now that you know yourself, because most of you know yourself, you just need to G-check yourself to remind yourself of the greatness and joy of yourself. You just got to G-check yourself, because sometimes we forget. And yes, numbers can help. Yes, astrology can help. Yes, certain religious systems can help, as long as they're not trying to control you and have you serve some other man or woman and lead you down a path where you're not going to grow to be your greatest self? Now, if you are following a leader that's leading you to a path of opening up yourself to be your greatest self, then fine. Because leaders are supposed to teach other potential leaders to lead in their own family, in their own business. Very important. So, yes, it is your response to your ability to, or your responsibility to realign by any means necessary. What I mean by any means necessary, yes, just like Malcolm X said, that was what was coined by our dear brother Malcolm X, by any means necessary in a world that is inundated with a lot of negative things that they make us perceive that exists more than everything else. Because that's when you look into the news and you watch the news, the first 7 to 16 to 27, 25 minutes of the news is negative. And let's go to the weather. And then they'll go to the weather after that, or they'll go to some other local thing that's going on. Come on. Think about it. As soon as you turn on the 6 o'clock news, the 7 o'clock news, the news that it always run down what they call in media jargon the sexy news. That negativity is attractive according to media jargon. I was in media for years. I was on a morning show. I was also a board operator. So I was privy to a lot of stuff in the media world, from being a morning show, being my own radio talk show, and being a radio talk show host and music show host, and then board opping talk show hosts like Steve Marsberg and Karen Hunter, or I did Shmuley Botaic. It's Rabbi Shmuley and Karen Hunter. I've done. I was board up for Gary Knoll. I was board up for Shmuley Botaic, who was Michael Jackson's rabbi. I was board up for him. I was board up for a lot of people. So it's sexy, according to media, to put out the negative first, because that's what pulls people in, because according to their studies, and they take these studies at MIT and Berkeley and all these other places, they take these studies very seriously, because usually if you're going to study about negative and positive effects, MIT was one of the main places that did it, and they said that it takes 16 positive to knock out one negative. It takes 16 positive to knock out one negative. So it is your responsibility, or your response to your ability, to realign yourself by any means necessary to bombard your mind with positive things that will help to realign you to be your best self. Whether it's reading a book, I get up in the morning, I'll read a book, or I'll write my thoughts and my dreams out in a dream journal. Or I'll read a positive book, or I'll listen to a positive message, a Reverend Ike. I'll listen to Eric Thomas. I'll listen to Lisa Nichols. I'll listen to Ian Levanzan. I'll listen to Queen Afua. Because it's my responsibility, now that I'm grown up, to bring myself and realign myself by any means necessary to be the best I can be of myself. Do we go through hard times nowadays that we recognize it, and we're not, children went through hard times, but the children mindset, which I love, that I have 12 grandchildren, a 13th one are coming. So when I go over to the house, and all of them ain't there, usually it's all different space. Unless there's a big party, that's when you're going to have all of them there. But because they're coming from different marriages with my sons and all that kind of stuff, when you go and you get on the floor with them and play, sometimes I get tired. They can tire you out because they got a lot of energy. But those are little reflections of me and my sons and their mothers, and those are little reflections because I was the energetic child when I was at my childhood, and I would do it now. My cousin told me, and this is what I gotta say. Go ask your cousins. Go ask your older cousins and your people or your babysitters that used to take care of you, and ask them what you used to gravitate to, what you used to do. My cousin told me, yo, in order to put me to sleep, because I had so much energy, he had to run me around the coffee table. And he just sat down. He sat down. He said, yeah, go ahead and run, man, run, go. Cheers the goose, cheers the duppy, run. Those who don't know what duppy means, in Jamaica, that means ghost. So we used to play, the ghost thing, and I wasn't afraid of ghosts. He used to have me run until I got tired. Then I had another uncle that used to give me Colt 45 or Guinness Stout to put me to bed, because they knew that whatever liquor content was in there, it would tire me out. I'm just saying. This is what they used to do, adults used to do, to calm my energy down, because my energy was there. It was at my child energy was at fleek all the time, 1,000. All the time. And I never got diagnosed for ADHD and none of these crazy things. These things didn't come around till later on, and nothing psychological and everything. It's just that your brother King Simon had a lot of energy. That's why when you see me on stage and if people that remember me hosting reggae shows or soca shows, my energy is hype all the time. It's turned up. Yes, I will go into my cocoon. I'm one of those people. I can be in a cocoon. But when I come to do a job, especially when I get in front of that microphone, I talk about it in this book, right? I give it a breakdown and tell people about it in my book here. I'll tell it in my book here called No Promotion is Bad Promotion. All publicity is good publicity. Just spell my name right. I talk about it in this book. And let me step away from what I'm saying right now, because there's something coming up right now. All right, we already know that Tupac's death is right on the verge of being fully solved. And I want to show y'all the patterns. And when you start seeing patterns resurging, especially during this time, during the Jason months, July, August, September, October, November, and now we're going into the sneak peek months of next month, of next year, which is the 8th. Tupac is born on the 16th. 1 + 6 = 7. This is coming down right now in a 7-year cycle, but it started really resurging itself towards September, going into October, November. And this time, because we're in the 8, we're feeling the effects of the 8-year cycle. Remember, in numerology, the number 8 is old things coming back to either heal or haunt you. Let me say that again. Number 8, because September, October, November, and December are the sneak peek months. October is the portal. But the ending of September, October, November, December is the sneak peek months of it for everyone on this planet, of what's to come in the next year as far as their personal numbers are concerned. Tupac's killer, Keefe D, talks about Tupac saying now he's blamed Puffy, tried to pay all that kind of stuff, but he's in jail right now. Boom, he's going through his stuff. Another subject came up. Now, remember what I just said. Tupac is born on the 16th, and it's happening in the 7 year before we go into the number 8 year. Another thing is about to come up in a 7 year before we get into that 8 year, and it's going to rehatch and bring up a lot of things. Like I said, old things coming back to either haunt or heal. Watch what's happening with Eazy-E. And Eazy-E is born on September the 7th. September the 7th. And everything with the Middle East is always old stuff coming back, but everything is happening in patterns. If you study the Middle East and all that, I'm not on that right now, But if you study it's old things coming back. Because they've been going in and out of war all the time. So it's always old. And we're going into the 8th year again. Money. Economy, loss or gain of money. And because America is a number 4 energy, and we're going into an 8th year, 8 and 4 can be very challenging to each other if they don't bring discipline and communication, clear communication with each other. Once the communication is out the door, that's when the problems can happen in America. Done. I'm not talking about that no more, but that's what it is. Content disclaimer. The views, comments, and opinions expressed by guest speakers or authors on this YouTube channel do not necessarily reflect or represent the views and opinions held by this channel's broadcasters and its sponsors. Parental guidance is advised. Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of Copyright Act of 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comments, news reporting, teachers, scholarship, education, and research. For fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing.
Did you ever wonder if your birth date holds information about your destiny? Why you keep seeing the same number or several numbers?
Welcome to Numbers Are Simple, People Are Complicated. I am your host, King Simon. Numbers are not here to control you, they're here to give you guidance. It's time for you to be able to read the numbers. It's the numerovational session with King Simon. Text your full name and date of birth to 347-496-1022. That's 347-496-1022. And get my books on Amazon now. So remember, our job as studiers of these metaphysical, esoteric knowledge is to help enhance people to be better. I, as a numerovator, using the numbers, or quote-unquote numerals, and motivation to get people to understand why they need to activate their numbers to be their very best self and maximize it. Because the numerals hold a frequency. And if you're willing to turn up that frequency, then that frequency can help to guide you and navigate you to a higher height that will allow you to spiral to be your best self. We must remember that.